Hi guys, this is part 2 of animating your 4-pose walk cycle. Now remember, in the first video, we used Adobe Illustrator to create 4 different basic poses of how our character is going to walk. We've got contact, down, passing, and up. And you can see how I've moved his arms and legs for each of those poses. What I'm going to do now is take these poses over into Adobe Photoshop and actually animate them to play in sequence. So I've got Photoshop open, and I'm going to create a new document here. And this is going to be for film or video. So I'm going to click Film and Video, and let's do HD TV 720. Up here in the top, we're going to put in our last name, first name, and then I'm going to call this 4-pose walk. I'm also going to set it so that the background is transparent. So I'll change the background color from white to transparent and then click Create. So this will be my stage for my animation project. Now the other thing I'm going to need for this is I need to see my layers and my toolbars. And we're going to be using a new toolbar that we haven't used before called the Timeline. To get it, I go up to Window, Timeline. And you see it will add a new window at the bottom of the screen. Now over in Illustrator, I'm going to start to copy and paste these guys and bring them into Photoshop. So I'll click on my first pose, copy, Control C, come over to Photoshop and paste them, Control V. You'll see a little window that asks you if you want to bring it in as a smart object. I'm going to choose yes because smart objects will maintain their exact resolution. They're not going to look pixelated if we change their size at all. So I hit OK, and it drops in my first character. Then I'm going to hit check mark and go get the next pose. Jump to Illustrator, copy, back to Photoshop, paste. Over to Illustrator, copy, back to Photoshop, paste. Make sure that you hit enter on each one so it locks the transformation. Finally, my last pose, copy, back to Photoshop, paste. All right, now over here you can see all of my 4 layers that make up the walk cycle. Let's label these so that we can keep them separate. Okay, so if you remember from our document on the first day, we've got contact, down, passing, and up. So I'm going to name these in order: contact, down, passing, and up. Perfect. And they all came in a little bit small, so let's go ahead and resize this guy. I'm going to grab all 4 of my layers by holding down Shift and clicking on each one. Then I'll go to Edit, Transform, Scale. I'm going to scale this guy up to full size and then press enter. All right. Now they're a little bit jumbled because we're seeing all 4 poses at the same time. So what I want to do next is to turn these off and go back to just my first pose, which is contact. Now here's where that timeline comes in. We're going to create a frame animation, which means it's going to play each layer at a time, like a flipbook would. So I hit Create Frame Animation, and you can see my first frame is going to be contact. Let's add a second frame and make that one the down pose. Make sure you turn off the contact pose because we don't want to see it. Make a third frame, turn on the passing pose, turn off the down pose. Fourth frame, turn on the up pose, turn off the passing pose. Each of these frames is going to play one after the other with no delay. So I hit play, and now my character begins his walk. He's a little bit chunky, and it's very fast. You can see it's flipping through those pages pretty quickly. So I can always slow that down. I'll stop this. I'm going to grab all 4 frames, and let's give it just a little bit of a delay. Let's make this thing go for 0.1 seconds between each frame. Now when we hit play, it slows his pace down just a little bit, and we get a little bit more natural walk cycle. You can see his legs bending as he goes, and it's feeling a little bit more fresh. Okay, this looks great. Now that I'm ready to animate my character, I'm going to go ahead and save it out as an animated GIF. We'll go to File, Export, Save for Web. And in here, it's just going to ask you a couple questions. You want to make sure that the preset is set to GIF, and you want it to loop forever. We want this to play in a loop forever, so we're going to make sure that that's checked. Finally, we'll come down and click Save, and then save it to your file folder. For you guys, that's probably going to be on your P drive. When you're done, you should end up with a walk cycle pose that you can open up and see your character moving in 3D space. Okay, so that's all there is to bringing your characters to life. Make sure that you're saving your Illustrator files and your Photoshop files separately. And when you're all done, export it out as a GIF that you can share with us. Okay, have fun with it, guys.